An intense direct dye, available in a colour palette of 10 super bright shades plus a clear. It's fully intermixable and lasts up to 50 washes. The nourishing ingredients provide added shine. Staino fades true to tone and can be maintained with a customised colour maintenance conditioner. Staino by Evo Fab Pro.
Thank you for joining us for one of our PK sessions. I'm Jay, and today I'll be your host on Staino by Evo Fab Pro. To get the most out of this session, it'd be great if you could have along with you either your mixologist menu or the Staino fan chart, and of course, the Fab Pro Salon Guide, which has Staino on the backside. So with Staino, what we've created is an intense direct dye. There's 10 shades, plus a clear, and they come in 120ml size tubes. It's fully intermixable, both within the range and within the entire Fab Pro range. We've formulated it to give you longer lasting results, and the base that it sits within is so conditioning that you get incredible softness and shine. It fades true to tone, and any incarnation you come up with can be maintained by creating a customised colour maintenance conditioner. So Staino, the product, is deposit only, ammonia free and peroxide free. It's vegan and gluten free, and it's made without sulfates and parabens. Now, if you followed along to our other sessions on Fabuloso and or Fab Pro, you would know that the type of pigment we use in those products is cationic. Now, cationic refers to the technology of the direct dye, and Staino is no different. It is cationic, and it means that it's positively charged. Now, hair, when it becomes damaged, is negative. That damage can be caused by things like chemical services or colouring your hair. It can be from thermal styling or even the sun. Now, like a magnet, positive and negative attract, and it's that action that actually gives Staino its function. Now, because of that, you get the best results when you use Staino on previously coloured or lightened hair, but it is so intense in its tone that you will get results on natural hair as well. Staino itself is made of super bright direct dyes, and it's that combination that gives the intensity of tone and also the longevity. Now, when we talk about longevity, we say that Staino can last in the hair up to 50 washes. Now, when we talk about that, it very much is dependent on whether you use Staino on its own or whether you dilute it with the clear to create softer shades. You also need to remember that colours like neon yellow and lime don't have the same intensity as colours like ultramarine, cobalt and jade, purely due to the depth that they have. So you need to consider this in your formulation, and that will in turn affect the longevity that you have based on the colours that you use. Staino itself is built into an extremely nourishing base, and that in itself helps to seal the cuticle and in turn reduce the chance of frizz. So now I want to talk to you about how you can use Staino. Staino was primarily designed to give you those super bright, long-lasting, semi-permanent colour results within the salon. When using Staino as an in-salon service, you can do so using the Staino shades directly on their own. You can mix them with the clear to create softer shades, and you can even mix them with any of the Fab Pro direct dyes to give you more options. Now, when using it as an in-salon service, you need to make sure that you prepare the hair in a certain way. You need to start by shampooing. We would always recommend that you use Evo Normal Persons. However, if you don't have access to this, make sure it's a deep cleansing shampoo. You then rinse and towel dry the hair evenly, at which point you would apply your chosen formula, making sure to wear gloves. You need to process for 20 to 30 minutes. Now, 20 minutes will be sufficient if you have mixed the Staino shades with the clear. However, if you've used them on their own or mixed with the Fab Pro direct dyes, then you need to process for a full 30 minutes. Once you've reached your processing point, you simply rinse thoroughly and then style as you normally would. It's important that you understand how to create a customised maintenance conditioner for your Staino clients as well. Now, remembering you have your mixologist menu or your Staino fan chart, on the back of each of the swatches, you have the retail formula. Now, the retail formula for any of the Staino shades is 40 grams of pigment and 40 grams of back bar conditioner base. Now the reason we put 40 grams of pigment into the staino take-homes is purely because any more than that means that the take-home would actually be too strong for that client. And the reason we top it up with the 40 grams of conditioner base is remembering that our take-home formulas always need to add up to 80 grams. So what I want to do is show to you how you would make a take-home for a client that has had ultramarine all over their hair. So the first thing is you're going to take your conditioner base and give that a shake. The reason we always recommend that you shake it is because it agitates the mix and it makes it easier to shake your formula. Take off the lid and tear it on the scales. And then you're going to take your colour, in this case I'm using ultramarine as mentioned, and I'm going to put 40 grams of the pigment into the take-home. The second part of my formula is 40 grams of the back bar conditioner base. Once you've put your product inside, you just need to put the lid on and shake. So what happens if the formula you've used is not straight staino? And by that I mean you've diluted your colour with clear. Well, we have a couple of examples to help you formulate there as well. If you've created what I refer to as an intense pastel, and by that I mean you've used roughly half clear and half staino, then your formula is going to be 20 grams of direct dye and 60 grams of your conditioner base. And if you've made a soft pastel, which is predominantly clear with just a little bit of staino in that formula, then you'll only need 10 grams of direct dye and top that up with 70 grams of conditioner base. So now I want to take you through all of the tools you have available to you to work with staino. Firstly, the salon guide, which inside has all of the product knowledge information that I've just taken you through. So you always have this at your fingertips. As well, you have the FabPro mixologist menu and also the staino fan chart. Now I'm going to choose to take you through the mixologist menu, but remember, everything that I talk about is available either on the back of the swatches themselves or on the back of the chart. So when we look at the mixologist menu and we open it up, staino is always identified by the black background. And on the inside, we have all of the information that we've spoken about in terms of using staino to do in-salon colouring and also as a customised colour maintenance conditioner. So everything you need to know is here right on the inside of the chart. As we flip that over, and again identified by the black background, you have the staino 10 direct dyes and what they look like on pre-lightened level 10 hair. So this gives you an idea of the intensity and the vibrancy that you can achieve. As well as this, we also, on the colour selection guide, again identified by black, have a guide to show you where the colours work best. Now remember, as I said earlier, things like neon yellow and lime don't have the same intensity as some of the other shades. So it's really important that you familiarise yourself with this so that you get the right expectations in terms of results with the varying levels of depth that you're going to work with. Lastly, you have the concertina, which came with your opening deal and is also available for download. Now as you open that, this has a whole heap of pastel shades. Now these may not be the types of pastels that you choose to work with, but the fantastic thing about it is it starts to showcase to you the way in which you dilute the staino direct dyes with the staino clear to create softer shades. Now my general rule of thumb if I'm working with someone for the first time is if I want to create a soft pastel shade, maybe something like I would create with FabPro, then I'm going to use 3 grams of staino direct dye into 97 grams of the staino clear. Now a common question I will always get asked is, can I substitute the staino clear for the FabPro conditioner base? And the answer is of course you can. It's designed to be completely customizable and intermixable. Now the only difference is consistency. This is a little bit runnier than what the clear is, and the clear is also a little bit more nourishing. But in terms of capabilities, this will dilute your staino shades just the same. As I mentioned earlier in the session, staino will work best on previously coloured or pre-lightened hair. Now on the information pamphlet, which is located in each of the staino boxes, we actually have a pre-lightening guide that shows you where we suggest you pre-lighten prior to using each of the staino shades. Now it's important to note that it's not the same for each of the shades. That can be for two reasons. One, it could be because we want to maintain some undertone to help support the colour, or it may be that we want to make sure that we remove that undertone so that we get the best possible result as the colour fades. Now if we talk about fadage, if we start with colours like ruby or flame, they're both warm-based colours. So when we pre-lighten the hair, if we leave undertone in, that undertone is actually going to support the intensity of those colours for a longer period of time. Conversely, if we talk about cool colours, and in the case of ultramarine, which is a blue-based colour, and I know that it's a blue-based colour because if I look at the ingredients listing, it has both blue and violet, but blue comes before the violet, which means that it has a higher percentage, and that's how I know it's a blue-based colour. Now, if we pre-lighten prior to ultramarine and we leave a lot of yellow undertone in the hair, we know that blue and yellow make green. So we may start to see a little bit of a green tinge if we don't remove that undertone prior to applying the colour. So I think the key thing to remember here is that when colours fade, the result that you see is a combination of the tone you use, but also the undertone that remains in the hair. The application of staino is a little bit different to Fab Pro because it's a different beast. It should always be applied in small enough sections, and my general rule of thumb is that you should follow what you're used to doing with a retouch application. You need to ensure that you use enough product to saturate each of the sections. Where it does get different is because of the intensity of tone, you can actually work staino into the hair. When working around the hairline, we recommend you always use a barrier cream because it does have the ability to stain. Now, if you find yourself in a situation where you need to remove staino from the hair, there's a couple of things you need to be aware. First and foremost, please never ever use a standard bleach or powder lightener because these tend to explode the direct dye pigments and push it further into the hair. We would always suggest that you start off by using a deep cleansing shampoo, something like Evo Normal Person's, under heat. This works especially well if it's a soft pastel or there's a small amount of pigment left in the hair. If you need a stronger remover, we have Bottle Blonde Colour Remover. Now there's two ways you can use this. We would recommend you mix it with 10 or 20 volume peroxide if you have a strong colour to remove. If you need to remove a softer shade or in turn need a second application, we would recommend that you mix it with the hottest water you can get from the tap and you apply it in an applicator bottle. When doing this method, because of the hot water, it's really important that you keep this off scalp. Thank you for sticking with me throughout this session. You now have all the basic information you need to start creating super bright in-salon semi-permanent colours using staino. This is just the start of our education offering, so make sure you grab one of our Evo education brochures from this year and speak to a sales consultant or technician in your area. Another great thing to do is follow us on our social media channels, Evo Hair and Evo Pro. These are a great source of inspiration as we're constantly posting colourists from around the world's work and a great place for you to check out other formulas. If you need to know more about Evo Fabuloso or Evo Fab Pro, please check out one of our other PK sessions.